More on the UPA chopper scam, where Times Now has accessed details of internal AgustaWestland papers that reveal a contract with middleman Cristian Michel. And according to this contract, Michel's firm was paid over 6 million euros to manage the Indian media. Niranjan joins us from the Mumbai newsroom. Yes, Niranjan. So, what period was this when 6 million euros was paid to manage the Indian media?
Yes, Anand, we've accessed more documents in the case, and this particular contract was signed dated 1st of March 2010, and as per this contract that was signed between AgustaWestland Holdings Limited and Global Services FZE, which is the company of Cristian Michel, the middleman in the case of AgustaWestland choppers AW101. Now, as per this agreement that was drafted between AgustaWestland and Global Services, it goes on to talk about the customer here, in this case the Indian Air Force Territory India, and the products, the ongoing performance by the group company of contract AIR headquarters, signed January 2010, and all associated activities with the customer. Services, and when you come to the services aspect of it, to advise and assist a group company, in this case it's AgustaWestland, in all aspects of performing the contract in the territory, in this case India, and to provide the following services. So it talks about how AgustaWestland wants Global Services, that is Cristian Michel's company, to assist in implementing the performance of the contract for the supply of the AW101 VVIP helicopters. Now you go to point B. In fact, this is where it talks about the media, and this point here, and I quote: identify and inform the company, in this case AgustaWestland, identify and inform AgustaWestland of any hostile press activities that may impact on the execution of the contract. Advise and assist the company in the development of risk mitigation strategies to minimize the impact of any hostile press activities. So around the time when the deal was being finalized, around March 2010, AgustaWestland drafts an agreement with the Cristian Michel's company, that's Global Services, asking them to monitor the media. Point 2, advise and assist the company, that is AgustaWestland, in the development of risk mitigation strategies to minimize the impact of any hostile press activities. Provide the company with routine feedback on press activity with respect to the performance of the contract or any associated or contributing activities. Now this is the portion that talks about how AgustaWestland wanted Cristian Michel to monitor and track the media, and for that there was a manage and monitor media fund that was allotted, and this is the part of the document that talks about the payment. As per this document, point 6, the payment section, subject to the following provisions below, you will be paid a total of 22 monthly fee payments of 275 euros each, 275,000 euros, payable monthly in advance following the submission of a valid invoice. Payment shall be made in the currency of the contract unless stipulated otherwise by the consultant, who shall then bear the cost of exchange prevailing at the time of payment is made. So it signs off with the payment. And essentially what this document tells you, Anand, this document tells you that AgustaWestland wanted Cristian Michel, the middleman in the AgustaWestland deal, as per some reports, some estimates, who's been paid off at least 330 crore rupees as the brokerage in the deal involving 12 AW101 choppers. So Augusta wanted Cristian Michel to monitor the media, and to monitor the media 275,000 euros into 22 installments. That's roughly about 6,050,000 euros. 6,050,000 euros was set aside to monitor and manage the media, to track if there was negative publicity, negative press, and to ensure that nothing comes in the way of them executing the contract with India, the client in this case, of course, the Indian Air Force.
Now, Niranjan, is there a time frame? This money was paid, was this paid over a time frame? And is there any detail which suggests that Cristian Michel did recover this 6 million? Because it was against invoices, isn't it, that this money would be paid to Cristian Michel's company, Global Services?
Yes.
Because then we'll have to turn around and say who in 2010 and 2012 was the beneficiary, which was the Indian media that got managed by Cristian Michel.
Now, as per some of the media reports, and we don't really know because we can't question, or we don't know if somebody was indeed paid off. But what this document does, of course, raise is the question on whether this media fund, the managed media fund that was given to Cristian Michel, whether a part or any of the 6 million euros that were given from AgustaWestland to Cristian Michel were used as amounts to manage the media, to influence journalists. We do not know that. We do not know if any of the journalists got a part of this amount. it's too early, and we're also getting in some reports that we can get more documents in this particular context of the 6 million that was paid to Cristian Michel to manage the media. But what we do know, and this is what we're picking up from our team in Delhi, that as far as Cristian Michel is concerned, it's some of the sections of the media have reported that he's been close to the Gandhi family. His father has known the Gandhis for some time. We don't know about this. We can't verify or confirm these reports. But what we can tell you is that in the capital, Cristian Michel, who was a frequent visitor to New Delhi, right now he's in Dubai, but he was a frequent visitor to New Delhi around the time when this this deal was brokered. Now, he used to stay at the Claridge's Hotel, is what we're given to understand, and that's also one of the hotels or the locations in New Delhi where most of these journalists do, of course, oftenly visit. We do not know if he met any of these journalists there, whether whether he had frequent meetings with sections of the media, with senior journalists. We do not know any of that. But what we do know is that AgustaWestland gave him money to ensure there was negative press, there was no hostile reporting that would jeopardize the deal itself, the AgustaWestland AW101 chopper deal.
True, Niranjan, because that's subject to investigation, and that's perhaps what the investigative authorities now have to look into. Who all allowed themselves to be managed by Cristian Michel and Finmeccanica and AgustaWestland, because there is confirmation that there was a budget that was allocated, there was a payment that was made, and it also mentions on the document that you have in your possession clearly that this money will be given subject to actualization, that is production of invoices that you have incurred these costs. So clearly, if Cristian Michel was paid off this money, he incurred the cost. So he has to attribute that cost to somebody. And that trail is out there somewhere for people to find out. And that itself begets the question, who got the media millions?
Absolutely. We do not know who got the media millions. We know that there were 6 million euros involved, and roughly in today's estimates, it would be anywhere between 40 to 50 crore rupees. So 40 to 50 crore rupees is what Cristian Michel, the middleman in this case, was allotted. Well, interesting sequence, and when you look at the timeline of when this contract was executed between AgustaWestland and Cristian Michel, it was dated the 1st of March 2010. As per this document, 1st of March 2010. Now, when did the story break out? Remember, Times Now put out the first story of the questions that were raised on the chopper deal in 2012. From March 2010, when this contract was signed, to when we broke the story, that was in March, I think March 2012, there was no reporting on the story at all. It was in 2012 when questions were first raised. So interesting sequence of events. We will have to wait and watch and get some sort of documentation on where this money went, a money trail. We do not know if Cristian Michel did meet journalists, who these journalists were, if any journalists were paid at all. We do not know any of these details, but very interesting document.
It's all out there. The information is all out there, and those who did benefit from those media millions will now be worried, because somewhere this paper trail will emerge and the connections will emerge. Those who frequented the hotels where Cristian Michel stayed, those who hobnobbed with him, were in constant touch with him between 2010 and 2012, and those perhaps who wrote some glowing, fitting articles about how good the AgustaWestland choppers are and they are perhaps the best to acquire compared to others, and how perhaps they also influenced or justified somewhere or the other the alteration of the altitudes. Now, are those there, out there in the media archives? We can pull them out and perhaps draw some conclusions, and we'll do that.